Welcome back everyone, it's me, Matt. I hope you're having a wonderful day. As you can see by this beautiful imagery we're seeing right here, we are discussing the C-130 Hercules, an absolutely incredible transport aircraft. Now I have actually flew on the C-130 a few times before. It is a very impressive plane, although a little noisy inside for sure with those big old turboprops. I have a lot of respect for turboprop aircraft. I do work in the aviation industry and I must say this aircraft really is fascinating to me because of the fact that it is so good at what it does, but also for the fact that it has lasted for so long. The C-130 Hercules is a medium-sized tactical transport aircraft providing multi-purpose theatre support while assuming several diverse roles within militaries around the world. Missions include tactical and theatre airlift and airdrop support, Arctic resupply, aerial refueling, special operations support, aeromedical evacuation, aerial spraying, firefighting duties for the forest services, and natural and humanitarian relief missions. The aircraft is extremely versatile, with the ability to take off and land from unprepared surfaces during day or night in hostile environments and in all weather. The aircraft is typically used to support operations within a certain theatre, as opposed to the C-5 or C-17 aircraft that routinely fly cargo internationally. Of course, the bulk of these aircraft come from the US military, and the fleet comprises of around 667 aircraft. There are a small number assigned to other agencies, such as the US Forest Service, but mainly the aircrafts are placed between the United States Air Force, US Navy, US Marine Corps, and US Coast Guard. From its inaugural flight in August 23, 1954, the YC-130 prototype was an extremely good success. The YC-130 incorporated a hinged loading ramp at the rear fuselage, rather than side doors like that of passenger airlines. The loading ramp allowed for easy entrance of troops, paratroops, and equipment, and easily able to support palletized loads. One of the great features of the rear ramp was that paratroopers could be deployed very quickly from the rear. Cargo could also be airdropped, and tanks and vehicles can be low-level extracted from airdrop also. Now, 61 years is a long time to produce and sustain any product in any industry, but in the defense industry, where technology is constantly evolving to save lives and win wars, any tool that can prove its longevity and necessity across multiple decades is an ideal picture for success. If you are searching for an aircraft that pretty much exemplifies success in the fact that it can do what it needs to do for a long period of time, look no further than the C-130 Hercules. The Hercules is not the largest cargo aircraft employed by military services around the world. In fact, if you compare the maximum payloads of the active fixed-wing transport aircraft, you would find the C-130 to be fairly pedestrian in its capabilities. It is, however, a very versatile platform that has transformed over the years from its original mission of troop cargo transport and medical evacuation to be an aircraft that can meet just about every objective out there. There are now over 40 models and variants of the C-130, and it has been adapted to carry out assignments in an ever-changing environment and perform mission requirements as diverse as an aerial tanker, airborne hospital, space and missile operations, and even, of course, the AC-130 Spectre gunship. This makes the Hercules a popular service tool for most militaries and governments around the world, and of course even civilian applications also. During the Korean War, the existing piston engine transports from the World War II era provided inadequate for then modern warfare. In 1951, the United States Air Force sought designs for a new heavy transport aircraft. The General Operating Requirement, or GOR, for a new transport consisted of an aircraft that could transport 92 passengers, 72 combat troops, or 64 paratroopers, depending on the mission profile. The Air Force also wanted the aircraft designed to haul large, bulky equipment like artillery and tanks over long distances. It was also to be required to land and take off in very tight spaces, even on rough dirt strips. In order to conduct parachute drops, the aircraft would need the ability to slow to 125 knots and still maintain positive altitude. Furthermore, these requirements needed to be met on a platform that could be flown, if needed, with only one engine. The C-130 Vanilla, as it was classed Hercules, was a base variant. It serves as the advanced tactical airlifter. Using its aft ramp and loading door, the C-130J, which is the latest version, could actually accommodate a wide variety of oversized cargo, including everything from utility helicopters and wheeled armored vehicles to standard palletized cargo and military personnel. In an aerial delivery role, it can airdrop loads of up to 42,000 pounds or 19,050 kilograms, or use its high flotation landing gear to land and deliver cargo or steer on dirt or grass airstrips. The C-130J carries up to 6 463-litre standard pallets or 74 litres, or 16 container delivery systems or bundles of 92 combat troops or 64 paratroopers, or a combination of any of these up to the cargo compartment capacity or maximum allowable weight. The C-130J is the latest addition to the C-130 fleet and will replace the aging C-130Es. The C-130J30, aka the CC-130J, is a stretched version of the C-130J, adding another 15 feet or 4.6 meters to the fuselage, thus increasing usable space in the cargo compartment. With more than 300 of these aircraft delivered, production of the C-130J now exceeds the total production of the C-130B, which was 230 of these aircraft that were built, and the C-130A, where 231 aircraft were built. The C-130J Super Hercules is a comprehensive update. Upgrades in the Super Hercules include new Rolls-Royce AE2100D3 turboprop engines with composite scimitar propellers, updated flight decks, avionics, and other systems. Additions to the cockpit include head-up displays for both pilots. Along with the hard additions that come with the C-130J, the avionics upgrades provide pilots the capability to airdrop in instrument conditions without the need for zone markers. Earlier C-130s utilized these APQ-122 radar systems. The upgraded C-130J comes equipped with the APN-241 low-power color radar, which provides high-resolution mapping capability. This system, coupled with the dual inertial navigation system and global positioning system, enables the Super Hercules to be capable of delivering in all-weather environments. The state-of-the-art technology of the C-130J significantly improves performance while reducing its ownership costs. The J model is the only C-130 model still in production today. When it comes to overall performance, the C-130 does not disappoint. It has a maximum speed of around 366 miles per hour and a cruising speed of 336 miles per hour. The rate of climb is 1,830 feet per minute and has a surface ceiling of 33,000 feet without payload. Loaded with 42,000 pounds, the ceiling limit is 23,000 feet. The aircraft has a maximum takeoff weight of a very impressive 155,000 pounds. At that weight, the C-130 has a takeoff distance of 3,586 feet. When the weight is reduced to 80,000 pounds, the C-130 can take off in 1,400 feet. Once in the air, the Hercules has a range of 2,360 nautical miles. Of course, this aircraft can be upgraded to have in-flight refueling. The earlier models of C-130s need a minimum crew of 5 members, 2 pilots, a navigator, a flight engineer, and a loadmaster. The C-130J reduced that requirement to just 2 pilots and a loadmaster. In order for the aircraft to meet its stringent transport requirements, piston engines would have to be abandoned for the more recent invention at the time when it was being designed, the turboprop, which brought upon the initial engines to power the Hercules as the Allison T56A9 turboprop engines, which were specifically designed just for the C-130. This was no surprise. The design criteria wouldn't have been possible with the existing piston power plants, and turbojet engines were just still too fuel inefficient to hit the new transport range goal. With turboprop power, the Herc could carry the massive amount of power load that it needed to at the time. The Herc was handed over to the Air Force in December 1956. Since then, Lockheed, or now Lockheed Martin, has built 2,500 of the C-130s in 40 different flavors, including one on skis. Funnily enough, that wasn't the strangest addition that was placed upon the Hercules. At some point, there was actually a rocket-assisted package that could be placed upon the Hercules to allow it to take off on even shorter runways. They basically strapped a bunch of rocket boosters to the back of it and allowed it to push faster along the runway to get it to takeoff speed, to really just allow it to get onto runways that were really rough or just needed to be off the ground very quickly. C-130s went into harm's way almost immediately after its design and development, with its first deployment to Europe in 1956, and the first combat loss unfortunately came in 1958 when a C-130 Alpha II was shot down over Armenia during a reconnaissance mission. While the aircraft was gaining a lot of respect for its performance ashore, the Hercules simultaneously made history as the largest, heaviest aircraft ever to land and launch from an aircraft carrier. a distinction it earned in October 1963 as part of a test to assess its feasibility as a carrier onboard delivery aircraft. A year later, the C-130 Alpha began sorties for the US Air Force in Vietnam. They hauled cargo, dropped leaflets, and they delivered weapons to Ho Chi Minh Trail. One of the more notable bombing missions for the C-130Bs used in Vietnam was when they dropped two 10,000-pound bombs as means of clearing landing sites for helicopters. It's pretty impressive when you actually know that the bombs are so large that they can actually produce such a blast to actually clear you an entire landing strip. But the C-130 was more of a military brute. It was one of three legendary Lockheed planes operated by the CIA in the 1960s, joining the U-2 and the A-12, or the SR-71, as intelligence gathering tools. In 1969, a CIA-operated C-130E made a rather large drop of sensor pallets near China's Lop Nur nuclear weapons test base to get information on Chinese nuclear capabilities. The C-130B2 electronic reconnaissance aircraft operated in Europe and Japan, and later the C-130E models took on the standoff role of jamming in the 1970s. In one of the more surprising roles, the special EC-130E Commando Solar Hercs transmitted radio and TV broadcasts several hours a night over Iraq as part of psychological warfare campaigns as a prelude to the 1991 Persian Gulf War and 2003 Iraq War. Today's AC-130E, H, U, W Spooky Spectra Stinger gunships is renowned for its ability to protect special operations troops on the ground from Vietnam all the way up to recent Afghanistan war, with the 20mm, 30mm, 40mm cannons, and even the 105mm howitzer, as well as the additional smart bombs and missiles. In fact, one single AC-130 helped stop a southbound Iraqi armoured column during the Battle of Kafaji in 1991. But the Herc was also central to rescue missions, whether dramatic hostage situations like the successful 1976 Israeli raid on Etemp or failed 1980 Iranian hostage mission. And it has also saved countless lives on land and at sea with the US Coast Guard, breaking more records than any other aircraft in fixed wing to help with hurricanes like disasters of Katrina, Haiti, Fukushima, and the recent Peruvian floods. The Hercules even helps with other planes as it serves as a testbed for what would eventually be the engines for the European Airbus A400M airlifter. Long story short, saying the C-130 is a jack of all trades is really just selling it short. As mentioned before, today the C-130 stands as the oldest continuously produced military plane, with so many years of rolling off these runways in its service. Everything on the plane has been updated from engines to avionics, but it's still the Herc. Will it ever be replaced? They've tried for years to do that, including with the C-17 Glowmaster III, which instead replaces the C-141 Starlifter. There are plans for a new plane to start flying around 2030 in place of the C-130. It's safe to say though, until then, it's going to be extremely hard to replace this beautiful aircraft. So folks, as you can see, this aircraft has gone through, just like many other pieces of equipment out there, a lot of upgrades and transitioning to the point where it's almost perfected. The Hercules really is, I would say, one of the more perfected military pieces of equipment around the world. In terms of aircraft, this thing is doing missions that you can't even imagine, and the variety of missions that it can complete is really what sets this thing aside from many other transport aircraft out there. It really is performing so much in the world in terms of military support, civilian support, humanitarian support, and I have a huge respect for it. You know, I have flew on the C-130. I had a lot of respect for it when I was actually deploying to Afghanistan inside of it. As I said, it was damn loud, even with air protection on. But I felt comfortable, I felt safe, you know, I felt that the aircraft was definitely doing what it needed to do. When you do the tactical drop in to Camp Bastion's airstrip, you feel your stomach reach out through your mouth because you drop so quickly in altitude, but hell of a lot of fun, I can tell you that much, landing in one of those things, wow. But really though, I have so much respect for this aircraft and what it can do and what it's done. We all love the AC-130 Spectre gunship, and we'll do a video dedicated to that in the future, so stay tuned. But that's it folks, I hope you enjoyed the video and learned something about this beautiful plane, the C-130 Hercules. If you did enjoy today's video, please leave me a like. It really does help me out with my data and analytics and passing on, you know, videos to other people who want to watch. If you want to be notified of any upcoming content, just click that little bell by the subscribe button so you can actually be notified of when I release new videos. Those of you who have been supporting my Patreon account, thank you so much. It is going very well to supporting my channel. In fact, I just bought myself a new chair, an office chair, because the one I had was for like $60 from Walmart, and it was destroying my back. So now I'm actually able to create content comfortably and not hurting my body. So, you know, you are contributing to helping me produce content, not just me spending random money. All the money that goes towards my Patreon is spent towards things that I need for producing content. I've actually also just ordered a new microphone because I feel this one's starting to have some problems and I need a new mic arm, which allows me to actually narrate and talk in these videos a lot easier, because right now I'm hunched over my computer speaking to my microphone across my desk. So again, thank you everyone who has contributed towards my Patreon account. If you do wish to, once again, really appreciate it. Check out the link in the description box below, along with my Facebook, Discord, merchandise store, and all other fancy links like that. I appreciate you all stopping by today, folks. Have a wonderful day. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.